am super honored to be here. I love being on a campus, let's just be real. I did love when I walked into, I don't know what y'all call it, but where you eat. What do you call it here? Phelps? Okay. When I walked in last night for dinner, and I felt like everybody was like, whoa, who is that? And I was going to have 2 scoops of pasta, but I decided on only 1 because all the eyes were on me. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, people are watching. No, but I am super honored to be here and just get to know y'all a little bit better. This is my first time here, so I'm super excited. But how many of y'all have heard of a game called Truth or Dare? Okay, so Truth or Dare, a game. Ooh, right? Well, back in my day, we had a bigger version, and it was truth, dare, double dare, promise, or repeat. Oh, my heart be still. It was something. So, in the short time that we have today, I want to talk to you about how the name of this game, truth, dare, double dare, promise, repeat, became a representation of how God has worked in my life. And through it, to start a ministry, a nonprofit organization called Warning Lights. I'm hoping to give you just a little blip into the life of Jenn Amo today, and also to give a part of my heart so that you can see how God called me to be a missionary to specifically fight a crime called human trafficking. Y'all ready? Let's roll. Okay. Truth. Let's start with truth. All right, y'all. I am all about the sparkle and shine. This is me all day, every day. This is actually toned down a little bit because some people have said that if you don't need sunglasses to look at Jenn Amo, it might be a bad day in the life of Jenn Amo. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no joke. This is me all day long. I love it. I've got my haters, but I got my vibe, and I roll with it, right? I got people that come up to me in the mall, no lie, and they're like, "Are you too?" And I'm like, "Are you rude?" That was a real circumstance. My husband said, "You might want to tone that down a little bit because that was rude back." And I was like, well, okay, yes, totally my fault. But I am the daughter of the one true king, which makes me a princess. And y'all, I'm about to live that role out every single day. Don't you think I don't have a drawer of tiaras? Don't you think that? Truth, I am a PK. I'm a pastor's kid. And you ready? A Baptist pastor's kid. Oh. Any others? Any others? Oh, I get it. I know. Yep. I see you. I know. Totally get it. I've heard all the jokes. I've heard all the cracks. I've heard it all. So bring it. Y'all, I asked Jesus into my heart at 4 years old at Vacation Bible School. I grew up in the ministry. First ones to the church, last ones to leave. You know what I'm saying? We were there 24/7, lived in a parsonage all my life till I went out on my own. My mom and dad have led by example of how choosing a life of ministry is both the most challenging thing you can ever do, but on the flip side, the most rewarding thing you can ever do. Truth, I grew up in a very musical family. Music was on all the time. When our family was together, we may burst out in song at any given moment, like seriously. I love to sing. I was on the radio and toured for years with Children's Bible Hour. I'm not sure that's a little bit older for y'all, but church choir, community choir, sang in jazz band, sang at weddings, sang the national anthem for multiple events. I love music and singing. So when I started dating my hottie husband, who's just to the left of me, his name is Matt. Sorry, I call him my hottie husband because look at him, Raul, right? Okay. But my hottie husband, Matt, he is a 5th and 6th grade PE teacher. When I started dating him in college, my family, we go on spring break every year. We get in the car and we drive down to Florida. So we get in the car and my husband gets in, goes to the back of the minivan, because we roll in style as a PK family, you know what? Okay? Get back in the minivan, and he puts on headphones. Y'all, I'm doing this for headphones because we didn't have earbuds, we had headphones, okay? And he starts to lay down. And my whole family's like, I go, what are you doing? He goes, what do you mean? I go, oh no, this is a Ludeman road trip. Like, we talk, we sing, we interact. Don't get me wrong, we sleep, but no, this is all part of the adventure. And he's like, okay. He goes, what do you want me to do? And I'm like, well, when we start singing, just pick a part and sing along. He's like, okay. So we get in, Dad puts in a CD, we're all cruising along, singing it, like my family busts into harmony. It's really weird, but whatever. We all are singing our parts. It gets to the chorus, and Matt starts singing along with us. My whole family goes, he goes, what? I go, maybe you should just listen. Y'all, my hottie husband has so many talents, but singing is not one of them. He loves it. He does great. He loves worship. We love to worship the Lord in song, but he's gotten a lot better, we'll just say that, after 20 years of hanging out with our family. But music is and always has been my favorite way to worship. You want to see me, meet me at the foot of the cross, let's worship, because that's where I will be. Anybody else? Amen. Love it. Absolutely love it. So that's the truth. Dare. I attended a small Christian college in Grand Rapids, Michigan called Cornerstone. I loved college. I already told y'all, this is fun for me to be on this campus. I'd go back and do it all over again in a heartbeat. Anyway, I remember meeting other students all the time that would say, I always knew I wanted to be a teacher, a doctor, a social worker, a pastor, a cosmetologist, and so on. Or they'd say, I know that I want to work in blank field. Fill in the blank, right? Whatever that is. Me? I never experienced that. I never had the strong urge to be anything specific except for maybe Ariel at Disney World, because let's be real, what's the word? Burn. Okay, right? Like, I got this. But I never had a pull to work in a certain area, in a certain field. It just wasn't there. I was a big stamp next to my name, major, undecided, because I didn't know. Can anyone? I got you, right? You know, I just don't know. It was like the dare part of this game where it felt like I was risking my whole future because I didn't know what I wanted to be. I dare you to go in undecided. Woo! So for the first year of college, I really dedicated myself to what was easy. Being social. I was running student activities for my dorm. I was serving on the dorm council. I was singing in chapel praise band, campus choirs. I was working campus switchboard and loving it. Thank you for calling Cornerstone College. How may I direct your call? Right? Loved it. I was on my way to making music my life. I was taking music classes left and right, but it just didn't feel right. It wasn't clicking. I remember thinking, this isn't it. So my sophomore year, I came back to campus even more confused than before. I kept on my duties from the year before because I wanted to ensure that my social game was still intact, you know, just keeping it real. And I cut back on my music classes and decided that since I have no idea what I want to do, I'm going to focus on all the core classes I can. This will be the best approach that I can handle here, which means that I took some classes more than once. Because if you had scholarships, you had to have a certain number of credits to keep your scholarships, which means that I took volleyball 3 times in 2 years. Y'all, this is telling you how old I am because no way would this fly today, okay? No judgment, but that's how old I am. Anyway, my junior year, I was still undecided. But for my social game, you know, I decided to run for campus executive council, and I became the student activities coordinator for the entire campus. I planned all the student events, every activity, and I oversaw a committee of over 100 students that were my student activities committee. Honestly, the role that I was in was supposed to be a paid position at Cornerstone, but since no one had stepped in and I had all this experience, they just let me roll with it. So happy day for them, too. I also became the co-director with my friend Dan of all intramural sports. Y'all, Cornerstone's basketball team has a good rep, okay? I'm out there, never played basketball in my life. Now, I love sports. I've played almost every sport except for basketball. But I'm out there calling fouls on these Cornerstone basketball players in my intramural league, and they're like, Jen, that's not a foul. I'm like, you want to play in my league? That was a foul. They're like, yes, ma'am. Anyway, a few weeks into my junior year, my advisor called me into his office, Mr. Ryder, and he said, Jen, you have to pick a major. You have to. You've taken every core class that you can, every single one. You have to pick something. I was like, Mr. Ryder, I don't know. What do I do? I don't know. He said, okay, let's chat this through. He said, I see you on campus, and you're great at leading and organizing people in events. You like to talk and sing, and you're not afraid of a crowd. I also have seen that when you talk, people seem to listen. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm loud. Have you heard me? I shrugged my shoulders and was like, yeah, okay. He asked, what do you think about communications major and a business administration minor? I said, I honestly don't feel one way or the other, but okay. That was the day that Mr. Ryder picked my major and my minor. Talk about a daring move. I graduated, joined the workforce, and with no big desires or no firm direction on what I wanted to be, I just was rolling along. I worked everything from managing family fun centers with go-karts and laser tag to working in dental offices. Wide variety. I had multiple management roles and was just plugging along. Well, in 2013, I learned that human trafficking was happening here, not just in other countries. Human trafficking, in short, is modern-day slavery where people, humans, are sold against their will to do things they would not normally do on their own. There's different types of human trafficking. We've got labor trafficking, we've got service trafficking, but the most common form of human trafficking here in America is sex trafficking. When I learned that this is the second fastest growing organized crime in America today, I was like, what? You've got to be kidding me. And then there's a second part to that stat, which says about 50% of those are minors. Y'all, the Lord lit my heart on fire, and I'm not talking like, oh, look at the light. I'm talking about whoosh, bonfire, right? Like couch on fire. I got mad. Because I said, how can this be happening? How is this possible? Why is no one talking about it? After a short amount of research, I was like, I double dare anybody to come after my family with this crime, y'all. It's a horrific crime. After learning about this in 2013, it was a few weeks later, and I'm going to be honest with y'all, this part of my story, some people don't believe, but it's my story, and I'm going to tell you what happened because I believe that's the right way to handle things. I was driving down the road, 44th Street in Grand Rapids. It's a road that our house was just off of, and I was on that road all the time. And if I'm going to be honest, I don't really remember where I was going that day, but if I had to guess, it was probably the mall because that's the direction I was heading. But I don't remember. I'm driving, and I heard God's voice say, Jen, I want you to fight human trafficking, and I want you to protect kids, teens, and college students specifically. Y'all, it was the loudest and clearest thing I have ever heard. I will not mistake his voice. I immediately pulled into a parking lot because I was shaking, I was crying, and to be 100% real with you, I checked my back seat because I was pretty sure Christ was sitting back there. That's how loud it was. Still shaking, still crying. I called my husband, who's a 5th and 6th grade PE teacher, never in his office, always in the gym. He picks up on the first ring. He's like, hey, I'm like crying. He's like, what's wrong? I said, something just happened. He goes, what? I said, God just asked me to fight human trafficking. He goes, what does that mean? I go, I don't know. But in all of Matt's wonderful wisdom, he goes, well, I think you better check it out, right? Y'all, that day, I didn't know what any of that meant, but immediately I knew that simple obedience was the response, and it was yes, Lord, yes. So I began researching human trafficking awareness for kids, teens, college students, online. There was, guess what? Nothing came up. A couple options for adults, but nothing. I felt God calling me and saying, Jen, I double dare you to take up your cross and follow me. In Mark 8:34 and 35, then calling to the crowd to join his disciples, he said, if any of you wants to be my follower, you must give up your own way. Take up your cross and follow me. If you try to hang on to your life, you will lose it. But If you give up your life for my sake and for the sake of the good news, you will save it. I knew my answer was yes, and I made a promise, truth dare, double dare promise. That day, I promised to follow him, and where that led me was to take about a year, 2014, to write a curriculum called Warning Lights. Warning Lights is a preventative approach by raising awareness about human trafficking. I wanted it to be applicable to both secular and faith-based audiences, but I wanted it to be God's words, not mine. Because he's the only one that knows how to reach people where they are, amen? I had never written a curriculum before. There was literally nothing else for me to reference or to kind of like bounce stuff off of. But with God's help, here we are. We've been preventing victims since 2013, and in 2018, Warning Lights became its own 501c3 nonprofit organization. We are protecting individuals from all ages through education and awareness on the crime of human trafficking. From our student trainings to professionals to the law enforcement trainings that I do, we boldly discuss the lures, signs, and ways to respond to this crime. Warning Lights is being utilized in high schools and colleges all across the nation and internationally, as I'm in their classrooms teaching Warning Lights every semester or at least once a year to protect every single kid that's coming through that school. Warning Lights also has a middle school version. And we also have a kids version. It's for 3rd through 6th grade. We require a parent or a guardian to attend, but we give them more of a personal safety course, but we educate the parents or guardians that are with them on how this crime works. That brings us to repeat. Predators of human trafficking, they prey on our insecurities. We all have insecurities, every single one of us, myself included. They prey on that. But the biggest predator of all, Satan, is also full of lies that target our insecurities. For even in my ministry, with a calling louder and clearer than I've ever heard anything before, it's funny how Satan's voice repeatedly sneaks in, causing doubt, fear of failure, a feeling of inadequacy. I know, he's after you too. Don't fall for his lures. Know the warning lights of sin. Don't believe his lies, y'all. Honestly, the ways of the world are easy. They lack style, they lack class, but they are easy. Following Christ is not always easy. It requires you to be different. To stand out, to speak up, to be bold. It is a choice that we must make repeatedly, every single day. It's no pain, no gain, right? My choice to become a missionary and to start the Warning Lights ministry is definitely the most challenging thing I've ever done and the most rewarding thing I've ever done. Jeremiah 29:11 is my life verse. I picked this verse back when I was in middle school, not having a single clue what the Lord's plan for me was. Jeremiah 29:11 through 13, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. Then you will call upon me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all of your heart." You see, this Baptist preacher's daughter was on an undecided path that only God himself could orchestrate in the way that he did. I never saw this coming, not even for a million years. You see, remember my advisor that chose communications with a business administration minor? Technically today, I'm a public speaker running a nonprofit organization. That's our God. I'm organizing and planning events. I'm living a life of ministry that allows me to enjoy some of my favorite things like traveling, speaking, being a light for Jesus, either literally with my reflective glitter or however you want to take that. Keeping my social game on point because I get to interact with cool people like y'all and others every day, all day. being a safe place for those who need one. I get to usher those who have been hurt and abused to the foot of the cross, where I can tell them that hope of a better future can be found. Thank you, Jesus. In closing, I want to take a few minutes. Y'all, this is just a blip of the story of how God has done amazing things to get Warning Lights to where it is today. But my question for you is, what is your story? If you don't have all the answers, don't fret. You don't have to have all the answers. But the bottom line is that it's up to you. You do have to make the choice, and that's the truth. An undecided option, whether you're going to follow Christ or not, is not an option. Maybe you've given your heart to God, but maybe you're pulling like the driver's ed instructor role, where you're riding shotgun, running the radio, and making sure that his hands are at 10 and 2, telling him where to turn and when to use the blinker. Is that how you're letting God control your life? Or maybe you've never invited him in to take the wheel. Maybe you've never truly given him control of your life. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to be willing to step through the door when it opens. So I dare you to let him have control. To go through the open doors one step at a time. Again, you don't have to have all the answers. You have to have a willing heart. He'll use it. I double dare you to be bold. Be bold for him. Be who you are, because he created you with a purpose that could be beyond all imaginable measure in your mind. He created you to be you. If God asks you to do something, even if it seems crazy, or if it's never been done before, trust him. Do it. Go through that path. Go on that journey. It'll be worth it. I promise you, it's not going to be easy. But it will be the most rewarding thing you've ever done in your whole life. For you, for others, and on so many levels. Gets us to repeat. Choosing Christ is a daily choice, and we must repeatedly do it every single day, every single minute. Choose to follow his commands. The coolest thing about this, though, is that the Lord God himself every day is choosing you. Princess. He's choosing you. He has a plan for you regardless. He always will be just one choice away. Friends, oh, how I hope you see the light of Jesus in me and see that he is the reason why I do what I do and why Warning Lights even exists. Before I close this out here, I am going to be hanging out at my booth this afternoon, which is right outside where y'all eat. What's it called again? Phelps. Sorry, I will get it. Promise. I'll repeat it. Phelps. Got it. I'm going to be hanging out there from 1 to 2:30 today. I would love to chat with anybody that's got questions, comments, concerns. And then tonight from 7 to 8, I heard there's this place called the Underground Cafe or something. I will be chilling there, so if y'all want to come and chat anything up, have questions, again, I'd love to get to know you more. Just thanks for letting me come to hang out. Finally, tomorrow, I hope y'all will be back, because we're going to dive deeper into the actual crime of human trafficking, to give you some protection and also give you more ideas on how specifically Warning Lights is taking every measure we can to protect individuals like yourselves. There's so much that happens when you are in ministry, and you see people and you meet people and you read their faces and you get to know their stories. And y'all, I want to tell you that if your story is not paved, if it was a bumpy road the whole way to get here and it still feels really bumpy, I want you to know that that's a normal journey. We all have bumps, bruises, wrong turns. But choosing to follow the Lord will get you back on track every single time. I do also want to ask, speaking of repeat, that you keep the Warning Lights ministry in your thoughts and prayers. Add it to your prayer list for us, because we literally cannot do what we do without our prayer warriors. We will investigate this a little bit more tomorrow, but we will go into some of the darkest places on this earth, and I only know that by the power of prayer, we are protected in our journey with that ministry. So please keep us in your prayers as we do that. I'm going to go ahead and close this out in prayer, if that's okay with y'all. Our gracious Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for bringing this specific group together today, Lord. I'm so honored to be here, to be a part of the day here on this campus, Lord. Thank you for this opportunity. Lord, I thank you for being our one voice of truth, a constant that we can always go to no matter what's going on in our lives, whether it's outwardly and everybody knows about it, or maybe it's an inner battle that we're having, Lord. Thank you for being that voice of truth for us. I pray that you guide us, Lord. Please guide our steps, our words, our actions to fulfill your purpose, even if it's beyond what we can envision or imagine. I just also want to pray that we have a great day, a good time for the rest of this rainy Tuesday. And may in every action that we take and word that we say, choose you. Lord, I know that you're working in the hearts and minds of many of these students as they are figuring out what their life journey is, what the life path is, and maybe they know, and that's amazing. Lord, let them feel your presence. Let them be a light for you to others. Help them to be an encouragement. Help me to be an encouragement to them, Lord, in any way that I can.